want to go home.
Really?
Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You gotta compete, Donna.
Going in my book.
Might as well do a roll call then. If you're
No,
big
I'm
a
not
hurry.
doing minutes.
No?
Nope.
Big one. There you go. That's from the county. Unfortunately, Mary is sick. So some of this we're gonna have to finish tomorrow after she can get here. Hopefully she can get here tomorrow. We need her in her computer for some of it. Alright, so we'll go over the tentative 2023 budget. The first page, and let me know if there's anything you see there you would like to clarify.
I'll talk a little bit for Mary. This is salaries. This is what you guys usually just, you know, I mean, these are, these right here that are here, there's nothing but a 3% in it
For most of them.
from last year.
And highway right now, we're down that low because
Where are you?
of, second one down for 2022 actual.
We're on page 3?
Oh, page,
You-
well, on page 3 or page 1?
One.
Oh,
Yeah.
one, I have no idea what's going on with that. That's Mary's.
You look at
Okay.
the actual year-to-date for the highway?
Yeah, that's because we're down two
We are.
employees.
Yeah, and don't forget, I mean, he
Yep.
hasn't expended quite
Yep.
a bit of his budget
Yeah, we
yet.
got another,
Because, you're just starting to even pay there on the 5th and 6th, right, you said?
Yep. Wednesday and Thursday, if everything works out all right.
But a lot of it is, two salaries.
yep.
We just got on another topic, and we brought that up, I just got, somebody else to fill that application up there also.
For the highway?
Yes.
For what?
MEO, I mean, he
Yeah,
said
that's
he does have some mechanical skills. He's worked around trucks and stuff like that for a long time, probably like most of you out there, you know, pretty much some of the basics. He goes, you know, I don't rip the engine apart, but you don't get into that big overhaul stuff anyways up there.
Not anymore,
So-
not for quite a few years.
I told him to grab an application, he's doing the app. As soon as he gets everything back to me, I'll send him to civil service, make sure they okay him, and then I'll have you interview him, and then after the interview we can send him for his medical stuff. So, he sounded like he was pretty interested.
Is he right around here?
Yeah, he's not in the town, but he's pretty local. I'm trying to, I'd lie to you if I told you where he's from,
Okay.
but he is from a neighboring town, because that was one of the questions he asked, if he had to live in the town.
No, we had that changed quite a few years ago.
Yeah.
Is he the one that doesn't have the CDL though?
He had a CDL and he let it go because the trucking outfit he was working for closed up. They got done their contract. So he's in the process of seeing when he can go down to DMV to get his license renewed. I told him, I said, you know how that's gonna go, they're gonna make you take the test again and the driving test again.
No, but
He thinks where he's working right now, they might have a box truck that's heavy enough to qualify for his CDL. If not, that's gonna, his only hurdle is getting a truck that's heavy enough to take his road test on. You know what I mean?
Can't do it, town truck. You used to.
It's up to Mike, I couldn't
Sure,
talk to him
sure.
that,
In
so.
this day and age, I definitely,
Alright, so I'll let him know that if he can't get a truck, that you'll let him use that one. You'd have to go down with him naturally. He's gonna have to have somebody with a CDL driving it. And he won't have one until after he passes his test. But as soon as he gets his written exam done, he's supposed to let me know and let me know when they schedule him for his regular.
well, hey, let's hope, we'll see.
It sounds promising, it sounds pretty. Was everybody good with one?
Yep.
Alright. You want me to go through them or are you good with it?
Huh?
Is there something you want to go through on page one? Other than going through them, a lot of them are special
Going
bills.
through each one of these individually?
Just covering the page pretty quick unless you see anything out of the way, but these were all in one.
This is one, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wondered why the general is so much more.
You mean, 997,000?
Yeah, 900.
979,119?
Yeah, it's compared to 570. That's year to date, I understand. How much will that change?
Well, the
And the same-
general was, so you're looking at, $20,000. $20,000.87 actually, to be exact. 2%.
20,000?
Yep. If you look at, budget as modified for 2022,
Okay.
it says 959,032 cents.
Yep.
And then the actual to date is 5,099.19.
Mm-hmm.
And then our projected for this year is 20,000 in 2023.
Got it.
And then if you look far over from the change from 22 is $20,000.87. And,
So just to hit on that point, Kevin,
yep.
the actual in 2021 was 736,800.
Yep.
And the projected for 23 would be 979,000.
Yeah, but you're got a budget in between there too.
Right.
You got the 2022 budget.
Which we can't determine as of right now, obviously.
Well, we're not finished the year yet.
Of
but
course,
yeah.
of course.
But there's a lot of things that are going up right now. I mean, like, what did she tell me? I think a box of paper went from $25 to $50 a box now. I mean, so, well,
So,
if it gets to the point where when we run those numbers and see where we are in that 2%, we can look at going back to that and seeing if it's necessary. But it's not a lot for a whole year, especially with what's going on right now. I don't know if I answered your question.
no, you did. You did. You did.
Is that the only one-on-one? I mean, it was a lot more substantial from 21 to 22. All right, if everybody's on page 2.
I'm okay with it.
So, as presented right here, this document would be showing an increase of 7.39%. But you had just mentioned that some things have occurred where you don't anticipate it to be that high.
Not that I'm not quite sure. I mean, you know, we don't have a crystal ball on this.
Right.
We're going with what the
Right.
increases were from
Sure.
last year to this year.
So if we
and-
approve this budget per se and not take anything at all out of it, it's gonna be 7.39% increase.
Yeah, but you gotta look too, because you got $210,000.
I understand.
Nope,
Yes.
that's coming out of the appropriated,
Right.
Yes,
so you've gotta add that in to the 7.39, so when you go back, actually your tax increase is from 959 of last year to 979 of this year. It's only 20,000. That's
it
it too.
is the 20,000.
Yep, that 210 is what we were talking about last meeting. If we take that out, that adds to our
Yeah.
percentage, and that's what throws everything
But I
off when
mean,
you look at it.
realistically,
No, it subtracts to your percentage.
Well, yeah.
if we,
Subtract, yeah.
so if we took more than 210,000 out,
That would be even a higher number.
that would,
Be a lower number.
No, it'd be a higher number because you're putting
Well,
more
it-
money in.
it would
Right.
decrease the tax rate
Right,
Your tax rate,
from 7.39 downward.
right.
right. and
That's
your-
what I'm striving to do.
Your implied tax rate is at 32, 0.32.
Yes. Yes.
It's not much of it,
I understand.
if you look at what it was before.
Yeah.
It's almost no change.
So I mean, that's gonna be adjusted based on what we decide on here tonight. Okay,
Well,
clear.
and the next.
Right, right.
Because we, like I said, to get in the nitty gritty on this, we really need to have the, here in the computer.
Sure.
If you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
To get
Yeah.
each line. But like I said, if you look at the current and what the implied is.
Yes, yes.
It's what?
23 cents.
Two-
Point, well, point
well,
2323.
It's 2 cents, alright?
You're correct, but it's still 7.39%. Okay,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, the percentage.
that's all, I mean, that's
Yeah,
not
but
gonna go away, and
No.
that's a number I'd like to see down to about 2%.
Yeah, and I'm sure that.
And when we
everybody-
get done here tomorrow night, I hope so,
Yeah, well.
that it is
we'll-
lower.
we'll- Like I said, the only thing you don't wanna do is pare this thing down so low that we can't cover the cost of the 8 to
Well,
9%.
Yeah,
inflation.
that certainly is up to this board, you're so
You're
right. You're so right.
Thank you.
Because if you put yourself in a box where you can't recover the bills,
Thank
it's
you,
not
Don.
gonna be good. Okay. Yep, we're on 3.
What page are you on now, Kevin?
Page 3.
On 3, I mean, this projected 3% across the board, I mean, I know for the town board, personally speaking, I don't even care if it's 0% for the town board. I mean, we meet once a month, we have a work session sometimes once a month. So it's not really that important at this time to get a 3% raise. I know last year we didn't take a raise. What is the difference? I mean, it's not a big deal if we wouldn't take a raise. What do you think, Mike?
I haven't taken one in 2 or 3 years. I don't need to take one.
So you would go for not raising.
I would.
And I'll caution just this, okay? The last 3 years, like I said, you guys haven't taken anything, which is, you know, outstanding. But if you do get new board members, they at some point in time are gonna wanna right-size this, probably, I would guess. I don't wanna speak for them, I don't even know what that may or may not be. But you don't wanna get it too out of whack with what other towns are. But it's definitely worth mentioning that you guys, feel that way every year to try to help the taxpayers out so that they're not paying any more than they have to. I don't have a say on that. I mean, other than what I just told you. That's totally up to you guys.
Okay, now, speaking,
Is that something you wanna take out?
I'd say 0% raise for the town board members.
$812, right?
Yep, that's what it would be for all of you. If you took a 3% raise, it would be $812 to the taxpayer. For the whole year. Which would be not even a penny, probably on the dollar. To the whole budget.
Comes to $203 a council
piece.
person.
Yeah. Per thousand.
Divided by
Um,
27.
Like I say, it's other than being, I'm looking for the right word, you know.
What's everybody else doing with against this problem? Well,
Pretty much, most of them are asking, are for 3%. I do have some of the other towns, I did check around. These are tentative too, so don't get caught up that these are what they're gonna do. But town of Plattsburgh, what they do is, whatever their, contract, negotiated contract rate is, that's what they give everybody else. So, their union
Contract
contract, their union contract,
like talent with the
like the
garage.
highway guys. So, they ended up, they're going with, on the tentative, of 4.5% raise for everybody. Our highway guys ended up about 4.25. Beatman Town is right around 5%. Their highway superintendent asked for actually 8%. Shazy is 5%. All others 3%. For the highway is 5%. Danamore didn't have theirs locked in yet. Peru is 3% pretty much across the board is what they're going with. Saranac still didn't have a lock-in for me. But those are some of the towns that we checked with. Doesn't look like anybody's going under 3. Just to give you an idea of what other towns are doing.
Well, here's an unpopular topic.
Yeah.
That I'll bring up. Regarding, and I'm gonna talk about a position, not a person in this. The position of town supervisor last year incurred a 25% raise. Unheard of, but this board passed it. So this year, I think that 3%, if the town board is gonna say 0%, I think the position of town supervisor should stay the same for this year, or for the year 23, I'm sorry. The year 23, I would like to see that position.
Can we take these in order first so we don't get confused on what we have and haven't missed?
What are we missing?
Well, you skipped over the justices, right?
Oh, I thought we already, okay, go ahead, Kevin.
So, no, I wanna know what's going on with this. So we're taking out the 3% for the councilman? Is that what everybody's agreeing to?
Did Vern say anything before he left?
He hasn't had the chance to say anything yet. If somebody wanna give him a holler and you wanna go back to it tomorrow night, I don't have a problem with that either.
I think that's the best thing to do then.
I'll contact them.
Okay. Alright, justices. As well as the clerks. All 3%. Everybody good with that? Okay, now supervisor's up. You got anything else that you want to say with that?
Okay, I think I've already said it.
Okay. So this is roughly a $720 raise for my salary. I put in a ton of hours down here. And what, I appreciate you looking out for the tax dollar and for the taxpayer, but $720, actually the 24, doesn't cover the hours I put in down here. I signed up for the job. I know what I signed up for. I appreciate that they right-sized the salary like we did for Cliff a few years back with the dog control officer. And I'm gonna look at another one this year that needs to be a little bit right-sized. My salary is not so out of whack with most of the towns that are around our town. And I'm gonna say that I would like the 3% raise as a $720 for the year.
Right, but you can't vote on your own raise.
I can vote on it, but I'm not going to say that I'm not gonna tell you exactly what I feel. You told me how you feel. I'm letting the people know and the board know that I believe $720 is not a huge raise. Not for the amount of time that I'm down here. I do much more than what I have to do, put it that way. There's a few of us that are down here that do. Include putting up the hero signs and all the stuff we do down at the park and the ice skating rink that I'm down there almost every other night working on, so that's my own opinion on it. You guys can decide what you want to do with my salary.
When do we vote on this? Is that something Vern has to be checked on as well?
We should at least give him the courtesy of checking on his position on the board.
Basically, you're doing the budget. You
Yep.
basically do not vote on raise
No.
salaries
All you're doing
until
it.
the organizational meeting.
Right.
And then, you know, you could say no to some or whatever, but this is for the budget.
The
And-
overall budget.
Yeah.
Right, and what we're doing here is seeing if there's anything that you want to change before it gets to that.
So that's what we're discussing right now.
Yeah, if there was any changes to any of the budget.
And when do we have to make those changes by? So I'm getting at,
Well,
so
tomorrow
will
is
Vern
gonna
be
be-
here tomorrow? No, right?
No, so we'd have to contact him to see what's going on. But
Your budget, your tentative budget's gonna be in by the meeting,
Mhm.
and then no changes can be made until the public hearing,
Right.
if any.
we're on a normal year, a 3% raise isn't a ton.
I'm just saying, do we need to check with Vern? It's not gonna make any difference, right? Or is it?
Well, it depends on
Probably not.
what he wants to do, because Reggie was saying if the board doesn't take a 3%, then the supervisor should not take a 3%.
Well,
So,
yeah, I go understand that board position because it
Right.
directly affects him, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, the other stuff, I'm all for letting him voice his
No, I'm
opinion.
just talking about, his position as board, whether he
Right.
wants to.
Okay.
Majority rules are, you know, in
understand.
the organizational meeting.
Does anybody else feel that I should not take a 3% raise? For
I
700?
understand what Reggie's saying, it's the same last year, the reason we gave that raise is because of the reasons you just stated. And I think that you do an outstanding job and you put a ton of hours in. But I understand exactly what he's saying.
The other thing that you're gonna look at is if you, like I said, let you guys know, is that when these things don't go up a little bit at a time, as they should each year, everybody gets raises every year. I don't care where you work. And the salaries this year and the end of last year have gone up tremendously.
Yeah, but Kevin, you're mixing it up. That wasn't my point. My point is this. Last year, you took 25%. Okay, we're in another year, so you could slack off this year and say to the people, 0% is fine for this year, for the year 23. I mean, my God, does $720 mean that much to you of the
No.
taxpayers' money?
No, it doesn't, Reggie. It doesn't mean that much to me, but.
I mean, you can voice
I-
your opinion all night about this.
Yeah.
You're talking about yourself.
Yep.
It's a little bit inappropriate.
What do you mean it's inappropriate?
You've already
I
made
have
your
the-
statement, so do we have to dwell on it again?
You're dwelling on it, and now you're trying to get me to argue with you. If you don't
There's no
wanna listen to what
argument.
I got to say, then you
There's
don't
no-
have to listen.
I
But what
won't-
I'm telling you is, the reason we ended up in this bind is because that salary didn't get changed for a number of years. And what happened was they caught it up in 1 year. So you can play that numbers game, but that salary is in alignment with most of the towns around here. It is not exorbitant to any amount. And you can let it go for another 5 years and they'll run right into the same issue.
It's just that you could join in and help us get rid of the 7.39%.
To get rid
And I'll
of
tell you what, Kevin,
$720.
that
out of the budget.
$720, that does matter.
Mhm.
That does matter. It does mean something.
Sure it does.
Everything adds up.
Yep, everything adds up. I agree with you. But you're not doing my job. You have no idea what it entails. And all I'm telling you is you can make this into make me the bad guy like you're trying to do, but that's fine.
No, I'm not trying to do
I'm just
that.
telling you what everybody else is doing, and that's what, there's nobody taking less than 3% raises here. And the taxpayer, I'm pretty sure, wouldn't want to see their raise for their salary less than 3% when the economy's, about 8% right now.
Right, but I doubt if any of them got a 25% raise last year. I doubt it.
Keep throwing that out there, but that's not my fault that the salary was so low to start with. That's what I'm telling you. And you're doing the same thing with your councilman job. You're making the salary, keeping the salary the same for the last, 5 years? And it's gonna right size sooner or later. The auditor didn't change, it'll be the next one on there. Anything else on this page? The assessor? You wanna have him follow your suit and have him drop down 2%?
He is.
He didn't ask for 3%, he doesn't want one.
Doesn't want one. But the budget, town clerk
Getting
is,
back,
the
excuse
attorney.
me, Kevin. Getting back to the assessor, that line is rather confusing, so Donna, are you saying that he asked for 0%?
He did not
Yes.
want a 3% raise.
Oh, okay, thank you. It's,
he's the same, 33,110.
so he got his 3% last year and he's satisfied with it.
I don't think he took one last year either,
Oh, he didn't?
no.
Well, in 21, he was making 32,150.
So he took it.
And then,
2022, we went to 33,110.
Oh, okay, yeah, I see that. He didn't ask for one last year, but you guys gave him one. I remember that. I remember a lot, but I remember that. What you guys gotta remember is there's a little black book right there, and Mary puts all the
Right.
figures in that everybody's put in that, the
Which is
worksheets. So she
What they
does
work
not call somebody in, or Kevin doesn't call somebody in and say, well, why are you putting this? This is exactly what everybody's asked for. And then it's up to you guys to decipher it.
Anything else on page 3? Page 4. Elections, I can tell you, they're gonna go up. I can check with the county board of elections and see what they project. Just talking to Dave, I know, he said it's gonna go up.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
we-
for
we-
sure, because we've got a primary in '23, so for sure, it will.
Bless you.
So Kevin,
What-
should we
What's the primary
allocate a
looking
little
at?
more money?
What's the primary you're looking at?
No, in 2023, we may have a primary in the town.
Oh, I thought you said you knew you had one. I thought you said you knew you had one for sure. That's what I was asking what the primary is gonna be.
So should we allocate a little more money in there based
Well,
on that?
what I
Kevin,
would
or-
do is probably, what we should do is check with, the BOE and see. And I can check with another couple towns too to see. Cause I just know that looking at this is the same as what we appropriated for last year. And that may be something to look at tomorrow.
You want me to try to get Dave on the phone now, or?
Hmm?
Want me to try to get Dave on the phone now, or you want to just keep running through and
Nah,
check with him?
we can check with them
Okay.
tomorrow. Being that we're gonna be here anyways.
Record management, everything's done with that now, Donna?
For now it is, yes.
Okay.
Buildings, like I said, we're still looking to hire somebody for that.
So, how come it goes up 7%? We don't have anybody, you're projecting that?
No, that's
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, that's town hall, CE.
Contractual expense, everything that probably covers your papers and
Pens
all
and
your,
pencils.
all your supplies. And she raised it because like Kevin said, ream of paper from $25 to $50.
Right. Yeah, everything's,
It actually just went up $2,000.
Then the next one, you'll see the increase on where it says 50% data processing CE contractual agreement. That's $6,000
it's a new girl. Okay.
for the security.
Which we have to have.
Non-funded mandate.
Everybody good with the rest of it? Dog
Good.
control officer, safety.
Unallocated insurance.
Mhm.
You don't know? Okay. That's one.
Along those same lines that, Howard, the unallocated insurance, I had a question regarding that. That goes up 7,000, 12.7%. Specifically, what does that cover, that term, unallocated insurance? Maybe Mary would have to be here
Yep.
probably to answer that.
Yeah,
And
I know some of my insurances just went up,
Yeah.
including my home.
but a $7,000 increase.
Yeah,
Yeah, really.
yeah, they'll recoup.
And my other question, and Donna, maybe you could answer this one, regarding dog control. I spoke to Mr. Christian last night about the budget. And this term, dog enumerator, it's showing here we spent $3,800 this year. And Mr. Christian told me that he knew nothing about an enumeration of dogs.
It's a contract for Elmore's SPCA.
Which one? Elmore?
Elmore.
Oh, they do it for us. They do it
That's-
for this town.
No, they don't do enumeration. That's what she's got it under for the contract for the Elmore's SPCA, the yearly contract.
So that 3,800 should maybe be the next line down, Donna? Do you
No.
think, or?
No, it's always been, I don't know why it's on that line, but that's what it is. It's the
That's-
contract.
Okay, thank you. And the last one on this page, we discussed this a little bit in terms of code, well, in terms of code enforcement, and safety inspections. Many years ago, they got separated in the budget. And we can see them right here tonight where that position is gonna be paying over $36,000. And comparatively with other towns, that's nearly the highest one in the whole county for that position, for those two jobs. And further, I mean, I know, I talked to him a little bit. Actually, I talked to him today. He's on vacation right now. But he did answer his phone, so that was good. And he's in this office 4 hours a week. And I just think that rate of 36,000, based on the limited number of building permits we have here, I think there might be 2 or 3 new homes going on. The rest of the building permits are certainly, I've looked at the reports and they're not substantial by any way, shape or form. But I think that is a position that should be considered to be cut back in salary somewhat. That is an unbelievable salary that we're paying for that. And what do you think?
I feel the same way.
I actually had called him to come in tonight. But like I said, he said he was on vacation, so forth. Everybody deserves vacation, for sure.
Well, we could follow suit with the assessor and make it a 0%, but do the same thing with the dog control too.
Now, Howard, are you basing that because the dog control got a substantial increase a couple years ago? Is that,
That was
would that be your part of your rationale for that?
part of it, but if we're gonna start cutting other people back, we kinda gotta be even. You can't just,
Usually, we're talking about COLAs, right? The cost of living.
yeah,
And usually those raises are standard down the board. Okay? Whether or not they want them or not could be a contention. But you're gonna have to rethink the way we do budgeting here, and most employers do budgeting. If we're gonna not do a cost of living increase across the board, but we're gonna do it by individual. I mean, each individual, when they submit, like Donna was saying, does put in whatever their wish list is. Like I said, usually cost of living, unless you are rate sizing a salary, which we did in the past. We did it with myself, we did it with the dog control officer. Matter of fact, there's, like I told you, there's gonna be one that I'm gonna bring up tonight that's just not in the realm of what the employee does, from what I see. And the salary's way low compared to, speaking to what other ones are. he takes on more than what he should. It's no different than what I ask out of Barb or any of these people down here are done. They work on stuff for me all the time because we are a small town. So everybody has to chip in and do their job. And some of the times when I ask Barb to do something, it's way beyond the scope of her title. But she still gets the information for me, does the research, and gets me back the information I need to bring to the board. Anyways.
No,
So
but
I guess
yeah.
we gotta look at,
You know, parallel to that, when Mr. Snyder started in,
yep,
his predecessor was making $74,000 a year.
yep,
Mr. Snyder, with how many years of service, ended up going down to 59,000. So you see, these things do happen, but yet, if we're talking about code enforcement, nobody wants to do that.
Well, you had a new employee step into the highway superintendent's position where you have an ongoing employee with
multiple years.
15 years, 10 years, 12 years service. Granted, Mr. Snyder was here, I agree, he's been here for a long time, but he was paid for that previous position. Then he elected to go from that position to a different one. And that's when the decision was made that,
But, on the other hand, not to bring this back up again, but he did lose all of his benefits. Basically, his vacation time was gone. So, when he did accept this position, he did take a little bit of a personal loss. On the other hand,
Did it, you know, like you say, he did it for the sake of the town, to save the town a little bit of money. But I've talked to other highway superintendents that come in. They, you know, when they went from an employee to, you know, to a highway elected official or whatever, of course, the stipulation was already in for me to get paid my accumulated sick time, which was a blessing because that was never a fact. The only thing we missed years ago was also give him his vacation time, which is very, very degrading to me. It hurts me a lot. I earned all that. And I just thought that, you know, the town board would say, hey, you know, it's only $5,000.
how much
Yeah.
vacation time did you lose?
It was about 6 weeks.
That's why I kept on imploring you to take that vacation time, and I know you said you couldn't take the time off, you didn't feel like you could take the time.
I've been going on since June of 2020.
Well.
It's not that I'm afraid I'm gonna miss a trip up there,
Right.
but it's like, man, it's massive.
But, yeah.
It's massive.
And I don't think Reggie recalls, but he was one of the ones that was complaining about the $74,000.
Well, that's
that
fine.
we were paying.
That was
our
back
fault.
many years
That's-
ago.
that's
I
fine.
thought that salary
It
was way
too
high.
That's
Right, you're
So
right,
that-
Kevin.
That's why we looked at it and.
I
You're
heard,
right.
I heard
okay,
that
for
when I
somebody
was just
starting
in
That's
out.
right.
every place I went
That's
in
right.
town.
At that time, in
I'm
those
like, why do
years,
you
that
know,
salary
whatever you
was
think.
way out of line.
Yeah.
But it was,
I don't know how it got that high.
Well,
but
because it
did.
was it was practice, 3% every year, no questions. They never went through budgets like this, you know, line for line.
But when a former highway superintendent stepped into his elected position,
They
he
got
lost a
that
lot too.
Yeah.
He lost a lot.
yeah, there's gains and there's losses.
Which
everything that you do.
do I think it was fair? I'm not gonna put it.
But again, we're not even to his salary yet. We're trying to get through these, so.
No, you
will
were
be
more or
coming
less, Mr. Factor was more or less talking about, you know, you cut me, and then you raise somebody else the following year, two of them. You know, and then I went the first year with no raise. And then it was 3%, which is fine, but, I mean, hey, I'm trying to do my best, I'm trying to make everybody happy. but it just feels, you know, a little degrading, you know.
Well, I'm sorry you feel that way, I'll tell you that, because there was nothing that, on my men's eye, that we did
Right.
meaningfully
You
to
know,
degrade you.
I didn't know at the
Other
time.
than
I didn't know there was
we
a time
put
limit
out
on
there
it.
what the new salary was going to be.
I didn't know at first. I was well in the process.
But you knew before you took the job.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I knew before I took the job.
Yeah, because we
Just
put
like,
it out.
you know, Mr. Randall said he knew before he took it. But he
I
found
mean-
out it was more involving, so he asked for the 25% plus. And I was trying to ask for something equal. And it's like, no,
Then you sort of started in the middle of the year, didn't you?
yeah,
So,
yeah,
Yeah, he finished out a year, yeah.
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 So, but we couldn't do much about when he started out, other than he knew what the salary was when he took it. I agree, just like I did.
Yeah.
So what are we gonna do? Are we gonna do across the board with the COLA, or are we gonna pick and choose each one of these jobs and go down through?
Well, you got somebody you wanna give more to, right?
I personally think there's a position here, maybe even a couple of them. It's very, one of them is very minimal money.
What if we're gonna increase some, why couldn't we, at the same token, decrease some? If you're not gonna go across the board.
You can. But that, like I said, that, you know, when you start messing with cost of living raises for some and not for others, it's one thing whether they don't want it. It's another thing whether or not you say the cost of living is X amount for one person, but it's not the same for the other. I'm just trying to stay as fair as I can.
I understand that, but
with
when you got somebody making 34,000 versus someone who's making 10,000, there's a big difference in the cost
Yeah.
of living rate.
just like 74,000.
Right, so 3% of 60,000 is a lot more than it is than us for 6,000.
Right.
So it's not as big a deal for us to give it up. But when you got 30% of 34,000 or 60,000 or whatever, it's not a 3%. It should be dollars and cents. Looked at it, it's dollars and cents. 3%, it depends on the number that you're referring to and the amount of raise that you're actually giving.
No doubt. It's that same way with every occupation now.
I agree.
Depends on what their salary is, what their cost of living.
So
How much
I'm
that
just saying that
percentage
3%, I don't know if that's the correct way to do it. I don't know if there is a better way, but I'm just saying 3%, you're talking about going across the board, it affects the number hugely by what the number is to begin with. 3% of nothing is still nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, that's my thought. I don't know if I answered your question, if you had one.
Well, well, again, it's up, the purse string is owned by the board. So if they wanna do away with
So do we put a question mark?
3% for everybody, I definitely wouldn't take it at that point. We're gonna hold everybody down to not taking a 3% raise.
You wouldn't take it? Would you?
I said, I wouldn't take it either if we're gonna cut everybody's 3% off.
I didn't say we cut everybody's off, I'm just saying,
Yeah, but how can you pick and choose?
That's what I'm saying. It's hard to
I
pick and
mean,
choose.
here I am agreeing with Kevin. It's good. But it's true though,
Yeah, it
Kevin,
is.
you're right. I mean,
It's hard
you
to-
pick and choose one, gets 3%. If they
It's-
make 35,000, you get 3% of 35,000. Somebody like us, 6,000, you're right, it doesn't amount to much, couple $100.
It's just a hard game to get into. Because then you're interjecting not what we're looking at for the economy and what COLA should be, a cost of living should be. we're now, other than right sizing the salary, okay?
We
Either
can right size it
direction,
anyway.
either direction,
Right.
okay, which we did. We proved we did that. But we didn't change what the COLA was. I mean, Reggie injected that as a 25% given to me one year. That wasn't, it was, the salary was put on board with what the most of the towns were around. It equals that, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it didn't, but it wasn't given as a cost of living raise.
So this board has done both ways.
Yeah.
This board has given you 25%, which
Yeah.
I voted against,
Yep.
and this board has stripped him of way more than 25%.
Not him in position.
The possession, I'm sorry, you're right, possession. Excuse me, Mike.
And
It's an insult.
at $74,000 a year, we were pretty much close to what the town of Plattsburgh was paying their salary
Right.
superintendent.
Right.
In the Class A town. I take nothing away from Mike. I worked well with him for the last couple of years. And I know he works hard too up there. It was, again, not giving him extra COLA or not giving him COLA or cost of living raise. It was deciding what the salary should be as a new employee for there.
I would believe in performance rated raises. I mean, if you give everybody a raise, then there's no incentive to work hard.
And I'll be honest with you,
That's a very good point.
I don't think,
I mean,
I don't wanna speak for the man because he's not here. I don't think that if he doesn't get a 3% raise, it's gonna kill him. But, I just don't like getting into, we're gonna pick, because if somebody gets mad at Donna, okay, now we're not gonna give her a 3% raise, right? Or if somebody gets mad at Barb, we're not gonna give her a 3% raise.
It's not one person, it's a group of people that vote on it.
You, 3%, if you're calling it a cost of living raise, you can't pick and choose who you're gonna give it to. It's gotta go across the board, otherwise you're gonna have some legal ramifications on it.
isn't that the way it's always been for 40 years?
What, for
Right across the
3%?
board.
I mean, it's a cost of living raise,
I
it's
mean,
not a raise. You
I mean,
can't
I've
say
been-
your expenses are less, so you're not getting a
Or
3%
that-
raise.
Because he makes more, that he's not deserving of whatever that 3%.
But
it is.
wouldn't a solution be, instead of, let's take percent and forget it. Let's go across the board with a dollar figure. A dollar figure for raise instead of a percentage raise. We can do that.
Take some research.
What dollar?
Okay,
per-
but
And that's your
there's-
point, 3% of 60,000 is a lot different, you're right.
Right, and there's, if you gave, to give, say Barb, if I remember